Hello, it is I, Elle-C. Are you ready for a little bedtime story with Elle? So let me tell you this little story. It happened on a Tuesday, one fine sunny day under Pennsylvania's cerulean skies. Joe Roman was a jeweler who ran a local pawn shop. While his shop was only mid-tier, not quite the biggest, yet relatively well-known enough to be relevant, Mr. Roman was quite proud of his small collection of designer jewelry pieces. He was most especially proud of his David Glowy collection, which was objectively the most complete collection of the famous jeweler's works. The price of his collection also recently shot up because of David Glowy's recent passing. It was just missing one final piece, which was thought to be lost a long time ago. One day, a young man came into his pawn shop looking to get a good deal on a diamond-studded gold bracelet. "Hi, my name's Vincent. From what I understand, this is a really precious family heirloom, so I was hoping to get a good price on it. Maybe $500 or so. I normally wouldn't think of even doing this, but I really need the money right now." Joe assessed the bracelet carefully. It was rather nondescript, but very skillfully made. It was missing 2 studs near the center, but otherwise it was in mint condition. The studs were definitely authentic, and the gold was authentic 24 karat. He thought that he should be able to easily sell it for around $2,500, if the owner doesn't claim it. "Well, Vince, it's a fine piece of jewelry, so how does $200 sound? The bracelet itself is expertly made, but it is missing 2 studs, which highly devalues it. I should still be able to fetch a good price for it, but it's a risk." "Hey, come on, man. I really need the cash right now. Can you give me a better deal?" Joe furrowed his eyebrows and adjusted his heavy dark-rimmed glasses. "Listen, I would argue that this is actually worth only $150, because not only does it have a defect, it's really not made by anyone worthy of note, like David Glowy or John Hayden or Iron Raven Metalworks, for example. There's no engraving nor any telltale earmarks by any craftsman at all, in fact. So that makes this an aftermarket product whose only saving grace is that it uses high-quality materials." "Well then, guess I'll be taking my business elsewhere." "You won't find a better deal than this, Vince." Joe sighed and turned on the TV. An old CRT model that was also pawned off to his shop some time ago by a retro game collector who was down on his luck and wanted to switch careers and become a rock star. There was a lot of the usual nonsense on TV. Some documentary about the glory of the Roman Empire, now it mirrors modern society, and some historian talking about how Stoicism could be the solution to the decadent nature of today's Western civilization. Sophomoric nonsense. Nobody cares about long-dead civilizations that didn't even have proper toilets. However, Joe's eyes immediately lit up when a news report came up about some information on David Glowy's final piece, which was apparently last held by an old lady from Japan who was currently living in Minnesota, called Mitsumi Kuroda. "Well, that's just a stone's throw from here." Leaving the pawn shop in the capable hands of his good friend Kyler, Joe immediately booked a flight to Minnesota to meet Mitsumi Kuroda. Miss Kuroda was a person of very few words, so she explained everything to Joe very briefly, as such. Ah yes, that old thing. Underrated bracelet. It belonged to my husband who served in the war. Here's my most recent picture of it. Sold it off at a garage sale 30 years ago. CIB. Joe was dumbfounded at what he saw. It was Vince's bracelet, and he had actually held it with his own two hands not too long ago, and just let it slip by his fingertips. He immediately flew back to Pennsylvania to try to recover it. When he finally managed to find Vince. That bracelet? I sold it for $1,000, some jeweler named Gerard. He said he was gonna melt it down because it was made with really high quality materials. Sure was a lot more than $150. Joe almost tore all his hair out at that moment. He couldn't fathom what kind of alternate universe he was in, wherein people didn't understand the charm of preserving David Glowey's final work. He rushed towards Gerard the goldsmith's place as fast as he could to inquire about the bracelet. He was willing to pay any price, even sell off his entire business, just to get his hands on that bracelet. I'm afraid you're too late, homie. I just turned that bracelet into 5 gold rings and a nice little necklace with a giant diamond pendant, as you can see right there. Mr. Joe Roman was beside himself with disbelief. You Philistine! You barbarian! You savage! How could you? You just destroyed a piece of history forever! Well, yeah, that may very well be, homie. But tell me, my man, who got his hand on that bracelet first and didn't recognize its true value? I tell ya, my works are just as good, if not better, than David Glowey's. I just don't have the prestige of his name. It's my job to create jewelry as a goldsmith, and I do a damn fine job at it. Meanwhile, homie, your job is to assess the jewelry and to accurately discern their true worth. So, tell me again, homie, which one of us is the real Philistine? The end. It's a story about the value of things, but I'll let you mull it over and think about what the message is. Actually, what do you guys think the true message of this story is? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you have a good night. This has been Elle-C, and I am out. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Wabate loon 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 la la loon 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 na itahimo. Sawagu kaze ni yumeru edo kokoro hameteku. Yomo loon 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 wama loon 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 taiyo no shita de himi to odoru himagure na dansu. Please subscribe.